So all the TikTok gurus are saying post, so y'all finna come along with me on my entrepreneurship journey. So this is part one of my story of how I became a spiritual life coach. So long story short, I've always wanted to help people, but I didn't know how I wanted to help people. So when the pandemic started back in 2020, I got into Forex. That's foreign exchange. I'm not forgetting into all that. If you don't know what it is, you just missed that train. So I was doing that, made a little money for that, and I was promoting, that I was doing that, trying to, build my team and whatnot. So that was one thing I did. I wanted to start a boutique. It was going to be called Luscious Babes Boutique. That didn't work out because I asked for a loan from my uncle, and, he didn't, come through with the loan. So, I got a little discouraged, and I started, back working. So I'm working, trying to figure out what I want to do in life and, get my shit together because I'm like, okay, I really want a business. What am I going to do? I bought a course from this girl who was teaching people how to, make wigs on the sewing machine. So I bought my little sewing machine, bought all my little tools, my little kit and everything. And I was ready to go. The fucking sewing machine ended up getting fucked up with the thread. And I had to take it to, I think Hobby Lobby or something, some type of craft store to get it fixed. And then I never got it fixed. So I gave up on that. Then I had wanted to go to hair school because I do hair. I did my own hair, by the way. So wanted to go to hair school. That didn't work out because life was lifing at the time. I had literally just broke up, got out of that relationship. I was homeless, sleeping in the car, had my baby with me, and life was just going to shit. I was staying in Airbnb at the time, and it was just crazy. So then after that, I had to move back in with my mother. So I moved back to Alabama. And at this point, I'm trying to get her house. I'm like, oh my gosh, what can I do to make some money? I'm done with the DoorDash and the Uber and Uber Eats, Instacart. I was doing it all, So I ended up putting in some applications on Indeed. And I ended up stumbling across Aflac. So it was a life and health insurance company. So do the interview. The lady said, oh my gosh, we're thrilled to have you. Blah, blah, blah. This is a commission-based job. I'm like, yeah, I think I can do that. I can make some sales. I've worked in sales before when I was doing, I was selling some leggings or something for some company. I forgot what it was. But anyways, I did that. So I was like, and then not to mention, one of my uncles, my uncle who gave me this necklace, he always told me to apply for the position even if you are unqualified because they got to train you anyway. So I'm like, okay, cool. So, they go give me some training. I'm going to be all right. So in the process of getting my life insurance license, what happened? So I'm taking the course, I'm studying. It was free, by the way, so I didn't have to pay for it. So yeah, I'm studying. I passed. I ended up getting through with the study materials. So went to go take my exam, and we could take it from home. The motherfucking computer ended up blacking out on me as I was on like my last 20 questions or so. So, and every time you have to retake the exam, you have to pay for it again. So mind you, the exam was $75 per test. So I didn't have another $75. Mind you, like I said, I was just coming from being homeless. Like I didn't have a job, no income. So, had to wait a little bit. The next time I ended up taking the exam, I failed it because I had me another little situation, boyfriend, whatever, and he knocked me off my pivot. Ain't gonna lie. I was real distracted. Ain't gonna lie to you. But, got on my shit, ended up leaving him alone, and I took that exam again. So the third time I ended up passing it. Got my life insurance license, and I thought I was the motherfucking shit. But by this time, I wasn't with Aflac no more because, they just stopped reaching out after a while. It was taking me a long time to get my license, which I understand. But mind you, in the process of me doing all of that, my best friend's mom, she was into the life insurance game, and she's the one that put me on with the current company that I was with. So we're going to do a rewind before I got my life insurance license, right? So this is when I first got put on with the company. So they was having an event in Missouri. It was a conference that was happening. It was a 3-day event. So I ended up reaching out to my best friend's mom, and I asked her, I said, hey, is there any, are they making any accommodations for people who came into the company last minute? And she was like, go ahead and reach out to Coach A. That was who, was my broker at the time. She said, reach out to Coach A, see if she can, work something out for you. I said, okay, cool. So I reached out to her, told her what my situation was. I said, hey, I'm not, financially able to pay for the flight and hotel, can you help me out? She was like, yeah, I got you, girl. I was like, what? So I had my flight, had my hotel paid for. All I had to do was get to the airport, basically. So this is the day of, I got like 5 hours before my flight leaves, and I'm boo-hoo fucking crying, and I'm just praying to God. I said, God, what do you want me to do? Like, I feel like this will change my life. Everybody's coming around telling me, oh, you shouldn't go because you don't know the way out there, and, you're going by yourself, you've never been on a plane before, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I know this, but this is what I want, So so God said, just get there. All you gotta do is get there. I said, okay, cool. So mind you, I had no money in my pocket. I'm still on my journey as an entrepreneur. I haven't had a job since 2023. So I ended up calling 3 different people, and I asked them for $10 because the Uber was $30 to get to the airport. So I asked each and every person for $10, and I told them exactly what I needed for, where I was going, and that this was my dream. I gotta get there. It's gonna change my life. They was like, yeah, go. And every single person that I asked for $10 ended up giving me more than what I asked for, which was crazy. I ended up leaving with over $100 in my pocket, right? So I get to this airport, and the fucking line is closed. The check-in line is closed. So I'm like, oh my God, so what do I do? So they said that I had to wait for a manager to come so they can reschedule my flight. So I'm crying again. And the man, he was like, please don't cry, you're gonna make me cry. I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what happened. Yeah, I was boo, give him the works. So he was like, wait for the manager to come down, see if they can reschedule your flight. Mind you, 10 minutes done went by, and my flight was delayed. You feels me? Just me waiting, trying to get together. I ended up reaching out to Coach A. I said, hey, you know, do you have the QR code, the boarding pass, so I can get on this plane? She was like, yeah. She went on ahead and sent me the motherfucking QR code. And I was like, wow. Like, I didn't even know that they did that. You feel me? That's how you know I don't fly. But we coming into that. We gonna be traveling soon. Bear with me. I'm able to get on the plane just in time. Luckily, like I said, the flight was delayed. So I get on that plane, and I'm going. So I had to stop in Atlanta. I was coming from Alabama, stop in Atlanta, and then go get on the plane and go to Missouri. My coach, she was like, oh, you can stay at the mansion with us. You don't have to stay at the hotel or whatever. I was like, what? A mansion? So I get there, and it was a big-ass house. And it felt like Bad Girls Club. You know when they used to be like, pick your room, bitches. That's what I felt like when I got there. I was like, oh, my God. So I picked a room that was at the top, like the queen I am, you feel me? And I had the best time of my motherfucking life. So fast forward to the last day, right? They asked us what was our takeaways, what did we get out of this conference, and you know, what brought us here today, right? So they're passing this microphone around, everybody in the room, and it gets to me. So I basically tell them how I got here, my story, my journey, you know, how I had no money in my pocket, and you know, it's just a blessing to be here. I was grateful. And at the time I was also wearing my crown every day. It wasn't this crown, it was like a little pink tiara that I had. And everybody, all the women kept asking me if it was my birthday. And I was like, no, it's my birthday, but you know, this is just me crowning myself because I've always looked for someone else to give me that reassurance. This is me reassuring myself and giving myself a pat on the back, saying that I am a good mom. I am capable of doing whatever it is that I put my mind to. And you know, this is just my redemption moment. So all the women, they were like, oh my gosh, your story is powerful. Like, thank you so much. So I shared that on stage while I was speaking, and the entire room started crying, baby. Do you hear me? Then as I'm speaking, a man stands up and says, when you get finished, I'm going to sow a seed into you. Send me your cash app. I said, yes, Lord, I hear you. Because the crazy thing is, before I left, I was like, God was telling me, all you gotta do is get there. You're gonna leave with money and come back with it too. And I was like, okay, God, but we just going, okay? God was like, God told me that I was gonna speak on that stage and they were gonna give me money. I had a premonition of that, like, but you know, I'm thinking I'm tripping, you know. Anyways, fast forward. So I'm like, yes, Lord. So I get done speaking, get off the stage, and when I tell you, blessing, a fucking blessing. They literally had, like, I had won the raffle for one of the ticket things that they was doing the entire time that we was there. I won the raffle, and they was passing this black bag around, and my house was in a room full of motherfucking millionaires, baby, don't play. So yeah, they was basically all the money that was in their pockets, they put it in the bag, and I left out that motherfucking conference room with over $600 motherfucking dollars, plus what I had on my cash app, because people was cash apping me too. But baby, like, what? My Isha is the motherfucking shit, don't forget. Oh! I'm sorry. But fast forward, now I'm a life insurance agent, and I'm hyped, I'm ready to get going. And you know, the crazy thing is, like, I started to feel myself not really wanting to be a life insurance agent. Like, I really wanted to be a speaker. Like I said, I've always seen myself as being a woman empowered speaker, and the fact that I had the room crying, like, that's what God wanted to show me through that moment. Like, it wasn't even the fact of celebrating the fact that I got my life insurance license. It was more so, you are a speaker, so go speak. And I'm like, bruh, this is crazy, this is wild. But I say all that to say this. I recently came across a spiritual life coach. Her name is Coach Charmin. She teaches spiritual entrepreneurs how to unblock their money blockages and how to find their true purpose in life. Taking her course made me realize that I did not want to be a life insurance agent anymore. I wanted to take up my career in becoming a life coach. So I decided to ask her for an internship and go be under her wing so that I can be certified as a life coach. So I say all of that to say, go after your dreams. Don't let nobody tell you what you should or shouldn't be doing, because the only reason that I took that life insurance job was because my mother was pressuring me at the time when I was living with her to get a job, to get my own place, and, you know, all of these things. But I was able to create wealth for myself by just being me and by just telling my story. So I hope that me sharing this journey of my entrepreneurship inspires the next person to not give a fuck about what you got going on, where you coming from. It's about where you're going. Like, literally, I'm recording this video in my closet, and I know that I'm going to enlighten some people, I'm going to inspire some people, and I'm going to be on more stages after this. And this right here, I'm using my phone right now as my stage. So somebody out there is going to discover me, and they're going to love my energy and my spirit, and they're going to book me for every single event that I have. So I'm speaking into existence. stay tuned for part 2. And please comment, like, and share for more videos. And if y'all don't, then I ain't posting no more. Y'all not getting an update. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna update regardless, because y'all gonna see this. Boom.